Hello, everyone. Mark with Kardavox Academy here, and today I'm here to talk at you. I'm here to talk at you about something different. Um, I want to talk to you about 2024 and what's been going on, and some changes, some things you might have noticed on the channel. Now, this is obviously a video for subscribers and longtime viewers. It's not going to do as much for those of you who maybe this is your first Kardavox Academy video that YouTube is for some reason suggesting to you. But here on the channel, what I have done for many years is reaction videos to deathcore and death metal vocals. And I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to be doing it for a long time. So don't worry. This is not a Kardavox Academy is shutting down or changing thing. Actually, surprisingly, these past few months of Kardavox Academy have been some of its best. It is a grind. I'm working like a lot more than I used to, but things are going very, very well. And so the first thing I want to say is thank you to all of you who are watching and checking out new videos. And a huge thank you to the Symphonic metal fandom who has shown Veronna, our clean singing coach, so much love and support. You are all a very passionate bunch of people, and I love that you bring that passion to the videos that she puts up. I know that in those videos, she often says how much she's enjoying learning about symphonic metal and digging more into it. And sometimes when you see YouTubers or reactors say these things, you wonder, is this really true? Are they just saying it because of the clicks? But behind the camera, she and I, when we just talk, she really is having a great time learning about all these different, like, you know, the history of Nightwish and finding bands like Epica and all these others. So thank you to all of you, but also thank you to all the people who watch me analyze and break down deathcore and death metal and all of these things. You know, I know that I haven't been putting as much of that up. I've done some product reviews for a company that makes like the Isovox and the Isopop broadcast, which you can go watch those. And I've been posting reaction videos a little bit less. So at the end of the year, I want to talk to you all about where my head is at, what's been going on, just so that there are people who really deeply love this channel. And I find that to be incredibly inspiring and surprising. But I want to address to all of you that don't worry. Kardavox Academy is going to be bringing a ton of harsh vocal education to YouTube, continuing on through 2025 and the indefinite future. Because while I do, anybody who knows me personally knows that I can be a big griper and complainer. I just, I have to speak emotionally to get my feelings out. In reality, I love this job. I love doing what I do. And even though some days I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to make videos, by the end of the day, I feel good. I feel accomplished. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Just jumping straight into it. This month has been heavily focused on my dad. His health is not good. He is going to be 76. He's going to be 76 at the end of this month. And unfortunately, he has pretty severe dementia that is part of his aging process, but was also brought on by a pretty bad motorcycle accident that happened back in 2008. My dad has had traumatic brain injury for almost half of my life, 16 years, if my mental math is correct. And of course, he had many, many years where he was always, personally, I don't love the word disabled, but limited by his injury. And so for the past 16 years, he has not been able to work. But he's had my amazing mother standing by as his caregiver and as his support. I am lucky to have two very strong and very devoted parents who are really committed to each other in the most exceptional of ways, right? But as my father has gotten older, my mother's gotten older. And so we've recently had to move him to a memory care facility. And it's right across the parking lot from where my mom stays. She lives in an assisted living apartment situation, but she couldn't take care of him by herself anymore. She was falling, he was falling. It was too dangerous. And so we made the decision to move my dad to a memory care facility. And this is the best thing, the facility is really good. Of course, I went in there and I was like, I hate it in my head, but I knew that was just my emotionality. And it's been a really weird transition because you're so used to everybody being together and now they're not. And I live very far away. I live very far away, not super far away, about an hour drive. But, when you have this whole business that you run and a toddler, and you're trying to keep your relationships afloat, it can be very hard to find, 3 to 4 hours to drive across town, although I've been making a very strong effort to do so. And all this is to say that my focus just really has not been on work, to be quite transparent. I'm still giving my lessons. I am booked to the brim. I've got a lot of great people I'm working with, and I'm very excited to continue giving lessons. And truthfully, those lessons have been I guess you could say, a good little escape, because for those 50 minutes, we're just talking about metal vocals. We're just talking about cool stuff, and it helps me kind of get out of my own head. So I've still been doing that, still been responding to my students. After this video, I've got a lesson, and then I've got 9 or 10 student submissions that I need to reply to. So not too bad. But, in truth, when I'm not working, or when I don't have work that I have to do, like, you have to show up for your lessons. You have to respond to your students. These are agreements and commitments that you have made. But when I don't have work that I have to do, I find myself in a place where I am focused mostly on reflecting. This transition with my dad is difficult, but I wouldn't say that I'm like depressed, or I'm sad, but I'm not like, to the degree that I am non-functional. Because the unfortunate truth, if you have lived with anybody who has a disability that will, or again, a limitation that will eventually, let's say culminate, is that you get a lot of grieving done sooner rather than later. And so while of course it's difficult to go see him and he doesn't remember me, sometimes he does, most of the time he doesn't. He's always very nice about it though. He'll be like, "Why are you here?" And I'll be like, "'Cause I'm your son." And he'll be like, "Oh, okay." And like, he's like, "If you say so, but cool to have you here." You know what I mean? So I'm not like sad. I'm not in that way. I am sad, but I'm not like, laying on the couch, can't get up sad. But I find myself very deeply reflecting on what it means for me to be a father. I have a 2-year-old son, and how can I live up to my dad's example? I was lucky enough to have a very good father. A good example of this is he only ever raised his voice to me once that I can remember. And then he apologized when we got home. We were in the car and I was being a little punk, I'm sure. I was like 9 or 10. So I was probably just being loud and obnoxious. And, any of y'all with kids know. And he snapped at me. I don't remember what he said, but he was like, "Be quiet." Rah. And then we got home, and I remember he knelt down on my level. This was a man that was born in 1948 and who, didn't always have the best examples of masculinity and manhood. But he got down on his knees and he looked at me, not like hands and knees, but he was just kneeling down. So he was on my level. And he said, I remember most of what he said. He said, "I need you to be calm in the car so I can focus on driving, but it wasn't right of me. It wasn't right of me to yell at you like that." And he said he was sorry. And I remember at the time being like, this is weird. I was like, this is awkward. But that's really stuck with me for a long time. I think about that a lot. I think about that with my own son. And I hold myself to the standard of my father. I hold myself to that standard. And so as is what normally happens, it is wintertime. The days are shorter. And I find myself reflecting. I find myself thinking about what it means for me to be a father, what it means, what my responsibilities are moving forward, what that place means for me, how I follow through on my commitments and my relationships that I have with other people. And there are a couple times I've pulled up a song to do a reaction. I was going to do another Lorna Shore song because they're very interesting to talk about. And let's be honest, for the algorithm, they're a safe bet. We all know it's true. I was going to do, I don't remember which one. I was going to do, I've always wanted to talk about Ian Bearer's voice because I know he's now in Angel Maker, and he was the original vocalist, I think the only vocalist for Rings of Saturn. And there's a lot of cool stuff on Lugal Cayenne, and there's plenty to talk about, but I just couldn't, you know? And again, this isn't me saying I'm burnt out or I'm not going to do these things. I couldn't do it because I could feel like, I'm not like a very religious person. I'm not like a super spiritual person. So when I say this, I just mean like the spirit of my humanity, right? But I brought it up in my spirit just told me, take some time, you know? Not everything's going to fall apart if you just don't do this video. The algorithm will get irritated because, as we all know, the algorithm is like the most toxic girlfriend or boyfriend you've ever had in your life. You know, you say to the algorithm, hey, I'm not going to put up a video this week. Is that okay? And the algorithm says, that's fine. And you say to the algorithm, are you sure it's fine? Because it doesn't sound like it's fine. And if it's not fine, I'll put up a video. And the algorithm says, no, it's fine. Go do whatever you want. And you say, okay, algorithm. And then the next week you say, hey, algorithm, how are you doing? And the algorithm replies, I just think it's funny that, and it's over. It's over. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. But my spirit was telling me, take some time to reflect, sit on the porch with a cup of coffee and stare at the lawn and think about what it means to be a human. You know what I mean? And I won't go too deep into my philosophical whatevers, because that's not what we're here for. But right now, it's just one thing that I have always felt is that music is a very strong medicine, right? And maybe that sounds a little hokey, but a lot of people, especially in metal, or I should say most that I've noticed in metal, they listen to music not just because it's cool, but because it does something for their like soul, right? And that's the same thing for me as well. And when you are a musician, when you are a vocal instructor, and when you are a YouTube reactor focused on music, oftentimes you are taking everyone else's medicine, but not your own. You know what I mean? And as many of you know, I think deathcore is an amazing genre. I think it's an awesome genre, but it never has been and probably never will be my favorite metal genre. It's the best genre for talking about vocal technique because there's so much going on. And whether or not you like those acrobatic vocals, it is just fact that is technically very impressive. And there's a lot to talk about. But the music that I have been needing to listen to is like, 10-minute long, slow moving, atmospheric, non-traditional song structure metal, or like really meditative things. Like there's a band called Balance and Composure that I've been very into recently. But in truth, the majority of my free time has been spent in silence lately. Just thinking inward, thinking about all these things that I've mentioned to you so far. And then also I've been playing the original Witcher game, the Witcher Enhanced Edition. I only have time to play for like about 45 minutes here and there, but it's still fun. It's still fun. That game is janky, but it's a good time. And anyway, that's it. I'm going to try to sneak in a reaction video by the end of the year, which is 11 days away. And I do think it would be fun just to try out a new format. I watch a lot of video game YouTubers like Skill Up, Mortisimal Gaming. I really am into like the JRPG side of YouTube. So like Night Sky Prince, David Vink, the Kaseki Nut, Backlog Battle. These are all some of my favorite YouTube channels. And oftentimes at the end of the year, they talk about their favorite reviews, the favorite games that they reviewed throughout the year. And I think I'll do that as well. I think it'd be fun to try that format, like my 5 favorite songs I reacted to, because I don't like every song I react to. Right? I don't. I always find something to appreciate, right? I'm not going to be the Scrooge who goes out with his friends to eat at a restaurant and then sits there and complains the whole time. Like, don't be that punk. If I go to that restaurant with all my friends and it's not the type of food I like, I'll find something on the menu and I'll find a way to make it into a good experience. Because I don't want to be so selfish as to, sit there and be like, I don't like ramen. First of all, who doesn't like ramen? Second of all, you understand what I'm saying. So I certainly don't like every song I react to on the channel, but I do always find something to appreciate. And I think it'd be fun to go back and say like top 5 or however many songs that I reacted to and talk about like why I love them and what can be learned from them. So, and that's it. I do have a video coming up. I was lucky enough to be able to do a very long forum co-reaction with the singer, amazing singer of Jotun. His name is Jon, and he's from the Faroe Islands. So very cool. I'm going to try to get that up soon, but that's it. That's all I have for you. I just felt the need to come on here and tell you all what's going on. Assure any of you that may be wondering like, Mark hasn't really been posting the same kind of stuff. Kardavox Academy ain't going anywhere. I'm still going to be doing these harsh vocal reactions for a long time. I've got some new ideas for some new video formats in 2025. That's it. I have a lesson in 2 minutes, so I'm going to be fairly abrupt. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you stick around. Hope the toxic algorithm doesn't give me the silent treatment for too long. Many thanks. Much love. I'm out.